So Kayla got sick, and we sat down and watched a ton of movies. If you were wondering why there was no Found Footage Friday or any of those things, that was why. So, but we did get to watch a ton of films. Last one we watched, we're going to do it in reverse order here, was Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with this character, this is like an online persona.
Yeah.
And you might have seen this guy pop up in like random interviews with an awkward dude with like a big black beard, and he talks very awkwardly. You might have seen him, but if you haven't, then you won't be familiar with the shtick. I had no idea when we pressed play on this that this was that guy's movie.
I didn't either.
We had seen some of his videos over the years. I mean, he's had this shtick. I'm sure he might have other ones as well, but this is like one of probably his most popular character, right? That he plays, and I definitely recommend watching. This is what I would say for sure. I would recommend going and finding one of his videos, watching that character and asking yourself, do I want to watch that character in a movie for 2 hours?
Yeah.
If you hate that persona, if you are like immediately annoyed by him, sitting there with him for 2 hours is going to just be too much for you to handle.
Yes. Yeah.
So that I would recommend the hell out of. I think his character is funny, albeit annoying, but that's the point.
Yes.
So it's like, it kind of works, but there can be an annoying that works, and there can be an annoying that doesn't work. What this kind of reminds me of, because I'll get into the plot synopsis here in a second, but this reminds me of like the days of SNL, when SNL characters would get their own movies, right? Like Night at the Roxbury, or the Superstar movie where the girl puts her freaking, thing. Wayne's World, and so many. There was a lot of them. Stuart Smalley, all those freaking movies. This is what this reminds me of, but of the social media era, right? Where you have a social media persona who makes his own movie. Almost like the thing that would remind me of this the most would be like back in the day when Pauly Shore was on TV doing his weasel stuff. And then that made its way into like Encino Man, right? And then Encino Man, and then he made, Son-in-Law and so on. And you got this character, because he is basically the exact same character in those movies.
Yeah.
But he has a different name,
Yeah.
but he's still the weasel. It's that's what this reminds me of. And that character is either going to be annoying as hell to you, because Pauly Shore is like nails on a chalkboard to some people, right? As to where, for me, I love Pauly Shore, and I'm a big fan of that shtick.
Yeah.
Almost like when Tom Green did Freddy Got Fingered or something. It's like you're gonna just have to deal with that character for the runtime if you're gonna into it. So definitely check out that character and see if you can tolerate that for the runtime. As far as the plot line of this goes, we have Onyx the Fortuitous. That's not his name in the movie, but that's what he wants to be known as. He basically signs up for this, like, not a competition, but a
competition is like what it sounds like it would be, but
a sweepstakes.
Yeah,
almost.
It's like a sweepstakes.
It's a satanic sweepstakes.
Yeah, like he wins it.
Yeah.
He gets invited
with 4 other people
to perform a ritual for immortality at this famous occultist house.
Yeah. So this was a crowdfunded film where he was able to raise around $600,000 some odd dollars. And let me tell you something. He's made quite a few movies himself. He had said, and what I had looked up, it said he'd made 3 other films. I don't know if they're feature length or what. I kind of looked a little bit, but I think they're more shorts. I don't know how much more money he might have raised over the 600, so I'd be curious on that number. That being said, if he really is only working with $600,000 here, this is a monumental achievement because this film not only looks great, but the practical effects and the stars that he got to be in this, and not just cameos, right? Like, so you've got Barbara Crampton in here who plays his mother. She's maybe in 5 minutes. But you've also got Jeffrey Combs to pair both of them, right? Since they were big Lovecraft actors that worked together on stuff like From Beyond and Reanimator. It's great to see them back together in something like this with practical creature effects and whatever. But Jeffrey Combs is like the main antagonist. He's in the film for at least a half an hour altogether, like with his screen time. He's got a huge role in this. I was expecting him to show up for friggin' 1 minute. No, like he'd come walk by and be like, hey, and we'll keep walking or something. It was something stupid like that. Oh no.
It for like the whole time.
He's a major character in this, and I was really surprised by that. So this is a shockingly well-made film for how low budget it is and the character in which it's based on. And it was written and directed by this guy as well. What's his name? Something Bowser? Andrew I wish I knew it. Please look it up for me, because he wrote and directed this movie as well as starred in it. And I actually had a really good time with this. I was not expecting
Bowser.
It is Bowser. Okay. I was it took you and I. You had his first, I had his last. Perfect. But when this started, I was like, this could be, this could be an exercise in patience. Let's see. Right? I thought this character was going to grate on me. But I actually really enjoyed everything going on around his character. He was a mixed bag for me. He was somebody who was at sometimes really annoying and kind of eye-rolly, but at other times I actually laughed quite a bit at some of the things that he did and said, and I thought they were pretty clever and kind of funny. But everything else outside of him going on with the story and with the practical effects and, I don't know how much I want to give away here, but callbacks and references and stuff that are in here, but they're handled, the callbacks and stuff, or the homages in here, actually I think are handled really well and are put into the plot line in a way where it's like, if you're a horror fan, you're going to recognize the chants or the incantation words that are used. There's 2 in here. One is used many, many times. You'll immediately know it if you know the franchise. And then the other one is really quick, blink and you miss it kind of thing, linked to something else. But I was really loving that. But the practical effects.
Yeah, the practical effects were really impressive.
Yeah.
I really love them. I think that's the big standout for me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I agree with you. When we started this film, I was kind of like, I don't know, this could be not good. It's 2 hours long. But I was really enjoyed it. I thought it was actually pretty fun. I think that I thought the acting from everybody was fine. I liked the dynamic between all of the characters, and I think that everything looked really good as far as the cinematography, but also the sets and the costumes and the props and everything. It all looked really good, and I ended up being pretty into it. And there was actually some kind of heartfelt stuff that happens, which was kind of unexpected. But yeah, the practical effects were so impressive. They were super cool. I don't know who did the practical effects. I don't know who did it.
I looked it up, and it's actually a pretty impressive name. I'm not familiar with the name just by seeing it, but having looked at his body of work, I was like, oh wow, okay. So he went out and made sure he got a legit, person to do this that really knows what the hell they're doing. And this is arguably, I'd really have to sit back and think about it, but this is definitely in my top 5 for sure, easily off the top of my head, be even maybe better, top 3 favorite practical effects of the year.
Yeah, the practical effects significantly elevate the film.
Yes.
It's not a bad film on its own at all, but if they decided to go with digital effects or something, or even just some other person doing the practical effects, it would have definitely decreased, I think, the enjoyment. So yeah, the practical effects were so cool, and it's a really fun movie. I mean, you said several times throughout, like, if there hasn't been as much language, like cursing,
they say
it
the
kind
F
of could
word
have
like
been
500 times.
They say that, and there's obviously like content of what they're talking about that also makes it like not kid friendly, but it does have this kind of like kid movie vibe, which I think actually ends up working for, and I think it makes sense given the character and how childlike he is. So, but it was really fun, and I don't know, it was an unexpected like watch for us, because you had seen it and like we'd kind of looked at it, but it wasn't anything standing out to us. So
no, not at all.
But for a horror comedy with Barbara Crampton and Jeffrey Combs and like really cool practical effects, and also this character, like you said, I mean, that's kind of, if you don't like the character, you definitely won't like the movie. But if you do find the character at least somewhat entertaining and funny, then I think it's something you should check out, because it gives so much more, it gives a lot more context to the character, which is like really cool to think, you know, like this is somebody's character that they made for online spaces, and like now he has like a whole movie, and like there's opportunity to continue growing the character and making more backstory and continuing on the story, which is really cool.
I can tell you this: he should be super proud of this film.
Absolutely.
This is a super inspiring film for any content creator out there who's got some channel and is created some, you know, character that has made even somewhat bit of a dent of recognition. But also, I genuinely don't think with this character you could have made a better film around him. Like, this is about as good as this film could have been. And I expected this film, I don't know why I expected this film to be bad. It's just because this character, I thought this character would grate on me too much over the runtime.
Yeah.
And it never did.
Yeah.
I was totally fine with him the whole time. As I said, there would be moments where I would just kind of, it wasn't ever an eye roll like, oh God, get me out of this movie. Let's shut it off. It was like, okay, whatever.
The character.
Then the next thing, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty funny.
But he's meant to be, it's cringe.
Yes.
He's meant to make
literally
you
a cringe character.
Be like
purpose.
that. So if you can handle it, like if you enjoy it, that kind of humor, then yeah, like I don't feel like the character overstays his welcome. And I don't feel like, because like that's the other thing, is that I guess I kind of would have thought like, oh, like everything's going to be about him, but it's not. Like, no. I think it's really well balanced, like the story itself between all the other characters. I mean, like he's the main character, of course, so it's like primarily about him, but I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So his catchphrase from any video I've seen him in is, I don't know. Right? And shockingly, like Kaylee had alluded to earlier, there's some dramatic stuff in here, and one that actually made me really kind of sad, genuinely. And it was the origins of where his catchphrase, I don't know, came from.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wow, that's like really sad and dark, and damn, now I'm never going to hear him say that again and not think of that.
Yeah.
So, and also, in addition to that, we have the babe from Paranormal Activity, the Ghost Dimension, the blonde from that movie, the friend who comes over, who's like a babysitter or whatever. She's in this as the Jeffrey Combs sidekick, Demon. She's really good in this. She also produced the movie alongside of him, so she must have really had a hand in this. We also have the dude from Final Destination 2, the motorcycle guy. He plays another character in this. So some familiar faces for sure. And this movie does very, very much leave off in a tease for a sequel, to which I would 100% watch. What I really like about the special effects in this, outside of how good they are, is how unique and creative they feel.
Yeah.
They feel totally unique and original to this film. Like, I've never seen anything like them before.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they are super imaginative and very specific to this film. The ghouls that we see in here are so cool. And they're used a lot. There's like a lot of puppeteering going on with them.
Love it.
There's something in a box
that
is so super memorable. Look, reminds me of something out of like the Dark Crystal or something.
It definitely has like some like Jim Henson vibes for sure.
And then there's a devil.
Oh, it's so cool.
That's super cool as well. So
yeah, awesome stuff.
Man, I'm super impressed by this one.
Yeah,
definitely. I was not expecting it. This is currently streaming on Screambox. So that is like basically free at this point. So goddamn cheap.
Screambox is really worth the subscription.
Especially if I think during Black Friday it was like super cheap.
Yeah. This and the other film that we'll probably be reviewing that we watched are like really great.
Yeah.
Like Screambox originals.
Oh, we're reviewing everything.
So yeah. This is a big recommendation from us for sure. If you like the character, that's the only like warning or caveat is just like check out some of the interviews that he does before, so you can get a feel for the character. And then
because I read a couple reviews after this, and people were like, hated the character, loved the movie. The movie's a 10 out of 10. The main character is a 0 out of 10. Stuff like that. I saw a decent amount of that. I mean, so people who were even not even liking him were still liking the movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's even 100% accurate. It's just, will he grate on you to the point where you're like, I can't take it anymore?
Right.
That is 100% going to happen to some of you. For sure. I just know this character is going to grate on people's nerves. I grate on people's nerves. She grates on people's nerves. This cat grates. I mean, everybody has it, but he is up to the nth degree. He's purposely being cringe. He's purposely being annoying.
Yeah.
He's purposely being in your face. But I actually really liked the journey. I liked the story.
Yeah.
I liked the character arc of some of the characters in this. There's not a huge character arc, but
it's,
it's just a fun-ass movie with great practical effects and a pretty decent, albeit generic, story that I've seen in tons of... It really does, at the end of the day, feel like a kid's movie.
But it worked really well.
Yeah.
So.
It feels like Casper or something like that, right? Where you got this big mansion with like secret corridors and goofy... ghoul-like background characters that are and I will say all the practicals in this are very childish, right? All of those could be in a kid's movie.
Oh yeah, they could.
But they're super cool.
They're so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. Yeah. Recommendation. Shocking. A big recommendation.
Yeah,
weird.
Absolutely.
Not expecting that at all.
Unexpected recommendation.
We actually didn't watch one single movie while Kaylee was sick that I didn't like.
No, yeah, we were really
And they were all 2023 films.
We were really lucky that we watched all the films we watched.
We watched like 7 of them. So let's get to the other ones. Yeah. Check it out. Let us know. All right. I don't know.
Bye.
Bye. I don't know.